kind of bring together a couple of things we talked about this morning. We had Moses and Elijah and Jesus all listed as folks who had fasted for 40 days. That has always been an amazing thing to me. The idea that they had not just fasted for a few hours or for a couple of days. A lot of us have had to do that to get ready for surgery or for some kind of treatment. But 40 days is an amazing feat. It's a long time. And so 3 of the greatest religious leaders, the Old Testament and the New Testament, fasted 40 days each. So that's pretty amazing to me. The other thing is this idea about getting religion mixed up with our Christianity. If you think about Moses, he was a guy that was responsible for ushering in the old law. He was responsible for bringing from God all of these rules and regulations that were written down into the moral, ethical, and religious code of the Israelite nation. It was all about law. So if you're really into Moses, if your religion is about law-keeping, that's what you think about. If I keep this rule and that rule and do this right and don't do that, then that's my religious pursuit. Got a lot of friends like that. In fact, I think I've been there more often than I should have been in my life, where I thought that if I just did things right long enough, that I'd be a good guy, that God would love me because of how good I was being. If you think about Elijah, Elijah was a prophet. He was a man that received direct pronouncements from God to give to other people. He was a man that was responsible for some amazing, miraculous things. The calling down fire from heaven on Mount Carmel in particular, touching the water with his robe and the water peeling back so that he and Elisha could walk across on dry ground. All those kinds of things are amazing. And there are some people whose religion is all about the miraculous. If they haven't received a word of prophecy, or if they haven't seen some miracle, then they haven't been to church. And they worry about us because nobody's speaking in tongues and nobody's prophesying. And we don't have that sort of thing going on in our assemblies. So their religion is difficult for them because it has to include some of these things that we don't include. And then you got Jesus. There's one occasion in history where the great lawgiver and the great prophet and the Messiah are all together in the same place at the same time. And they have witnesses, Peter, James, and John. We call it the Mount of Transfiguration. Jesus goes up the mountain, he takes Peter, James, and John with him, and in front of them, he is transfigured. His appearance becomes white, like the light. And they see with him Moses and Elijah. And you remember Peter. Peter says, let's build 3 dwelling places, 3 tabernacles, so that we can stay up here on top of the mountain and enjoy our relationship with the law and with the prophecy and with Jesus. But then a voice comes from heaven and says, this is my beloved Son, listen to him. So there's nothing necessarily wrong with rule keeping, and there's certainly nothing wrong with the idea of listening to God's message that he delivered. But the most important thing, the thing that overrides all religion, what did Jesus say? What did Jesus do in dying for us and being raised from the dead for us? So the trappings of religion may be useful at times, but the center point of our Christianity always has to be Christ. If you have a need that we can help you with, we'd sure love to as we sing.